Hey Pokemon Masters, Birdkeeper Toby here, and Pokemon Legends Arceus is looking to break the conventions of the Pokemon world, enter the Pokemon world into a whole new era. We got a large explorable overworld, no gyms, no Pokedex, rolling, we got rolling, and it seems that Legends Arceus has been highly inspired by 2017's Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, a phenomenal game that actually didn't have rolling. They dropped that back in Skyward Sword. Rolling. I miss rolling around at the speed of sound. And one of the kind of key features of the series that I've been seeing people wanting to put into Legends Arceus is boss battles, and specifically kind of overworld boss battles, much like the ones that Zelda Breath of the Wild had. And we have had Pokemon boss battles and overworld boss battles in the past, in terms of Snorlax or Sudowoodo blocking our path, or Mewtwo waiting at the end of a dungeon. But I want to use this video and use the comment section to really start pooling together ideas as to how boss battles could be implemented and greater expanded upon in Pokemon Legends Arceus. So let me know what you're thinking in the comments, and let's do this. And because of course we're just stealing everything from The Legend of Zelda today, I'm going to be teaming up with Legend of Zelda expert Commonwealth Whelm for this video to kind of have a chat about what we could be adopting from Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Hello there, Toby. Zelda has always had creatures roaming around the overworld, like the Like, which shuffles towards you to take your items and equipment to the Stalfos, who rise from the earth at night should you be caught out in the Hyrule field alone. The way Zelda has been creative with their creatures and abilities has caused players to stay on their feet when traversing Hyrule. Most recently in Breath of the Wild, where we had 3 main enemy types that have dominated as overworld bosses. The Hinox, who is best taken out at a range by targeting its eye, the Talos, that is the only climbable enemy in the game with a massive weak point, the desert-dwelling Molduga, which tests your ability to seal surf, and in a way also the mighty Lynel, even though it doesn't have a mini-boss title and a health bar, but it definitely challenges your dodging and swordplay. And each of these exists in the overworld to challenge the player in the ways that battling smaller enemies have been training them for the whole game. Additionally, the creators of Breath of the Wild place these enemies fairly evenly spread out across the map, placing them in areas to create the ultimate kind of atmosphere. Here's a specific example. You see a big Colosseum beckoning you in the distance, and when you get there by the way of the main bridge, a Lynel challenges you before you can loot the area. Or at the Lanayru Eastern Gate, a Lynel is set next to a Hinox, egging the player on to test their skills by taking them both on the same time, or have them both attack you in a pincer movement trap.
But of course, what has any of this got to do with Pokemon? Well, in the trailers for Legends Arceus, we see a lot of smaller Pokemon, kind of bounding around the overworld, being playful or standing still while your buddy Shinx is being captured. You're not gonna run away? They're adding flavor and life to the overworld, and I really do hope that by the end of development we see them kind of take on some more charisma and some more energy. But I'm also hoping that we see some Pokemon that can act as obstacles in our path, challenges that we as players can be rewarded for overcoming and feel satisfied for defeating. And while, okay, we're not running around the overworld with bows and arrows and swords, God, poor Shinx, we're just throwing our wooden Pokeballs at them and they don't hurt that much. At the same time, it would be nice to see some Pokemon that we've got to think about how we're going to deal with them. Sure, you might have to just sneak up on a Shinx, or maybe just walk up to it regularly, just throw a Pokeball at it. But then what about a Luxio? Do you definitely need to sneak to get a Luxio? And what about a Luxray? What happens if a Luxray notices you while you're trying to sneak up on it? Does it startle? Does it bolt across the map, leaving trails of lightning in its path? If it knocks into you, does it knock you back off your feet, so you're having to kind of get up and then give chase? Does it kind of be like Galarian Zapdos in the Crown Tundra DLC, where you have to chase it around the wild area, except when you do eventually bump back into it or get the ability to engage it in battle, to tire it out, then capture it, there wouldn't be a transition screen, it would just turn on you and you would begin the fight. And that whole idea of then battling the Pokemon so that you then have the ability to capture it has kind of been played about as well in Let's Go, where Snorlax and the legendary birds and Mewtwo, you had to battle them, to wear them down before you even got the chance at catching them. In those games, they act like they would in Pokemon Go, where they just kind of like bounce around the screen like that old Windows screensaver. You know the one I'm talking about. Do, 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 do. to a corner. In this game, I'm hoping in this situation that Luxray is going to dart around the screen, you're going to catch up with it like the Galarian Zapdos, you're going to battle it, you're going to wear it down, and then it continues to try running away, but it's too exhausted. It's slower, meaning you can now throw a Pokeball at it. And given that we've been seeing Pokemon play with this idea recently, both with the stuff I mentioned in Let's Go, but also with the Galarian legendary birds, I think it's possible we're going to start getting creative overworld encounters like this. So, with more ideas to go, let's get creative.
Sinnoh is home to a number of environments, all of which in Diamond and Pearl actually slow down your progress. Marshland, snow, deserts in the post-game, to name a few, as well as surfing routes and foggy routes only becoming accessible with HMs. Typically, these features are panned for slowing down the Sinnoh experience and making Sinnoh clunky to navigate, but in Legends Arceus, these can be seen as a main feature. Imagine traveling through the fog of an ancient Route 210, when from out of the fog a swarm of Drifloon approaches ready to lift you up and carry you away unless you can roll past them or throw Pokeballs or items at them to swat them away. Perhaps having some kind of Zelda-inspired Ghost Jar could allow you to traverse this route, blowing away fog and Drifloon once you have it unlocked. However, stand too long without using the item and the fog will envelop you, making these Pokemon much more of an atmospheric threat. From an environmental perspective, this is just like the Lost Woods in Breath of the Wild. And from an enemy perspective, we have the Stone Talus, which appears to simply be part of the environment at first. Link may be riding his horse around the map when all of a sudden the earth jumps up from under him and he is engaged in battle. But back to the fog. Another idea here is that while traversing it, the fog could in fact manifest itself into a Pokemon, like Mismagius, bringing a constant tension to those areas of the game.
Additionally, with environmental routes, you can imagine you yourself as the player being more vulnerable to being attacked from wild Pokemon. Maybe you're making your way through the Sinnoh marshlands and you get bogged down, but unlike the DS game where this is just slowing your progress, now the tension rises because the vines of a Carnivine might start appearing out of the mud, getting ready to attack you, maybe to knock you away from where you're trying to get to. Maybe like in Zelda that takes your items, maybe Carnivine every time it whips you means you drop Pokemon money or Pokeballs or anything like that. Maybe the only way to deal with the situation is to have a Pokemon with you that has fire attacks or cut moves, kind of like the Pokemon Ranger games, I guess, in the overworld, where you can use the Pokemon's ability to tackle obstacles in your path. If we get any desert routes in Sinnoh, we could see Hippowdon and Hippopotas charging towards us when we get bogged down in quicksand. It'd be kind of like the Molduga in Zelda, and it'd just be kind of like munching its way through the sand towards you until you can jump out of the way and get around it. Maybe you could cause that Pokemon to kind of ram its head into a rock, thus stunning it and being able to catch it. Or in the snow, we could see Pokemon team up with one another. Weavile is known for hunting in groups, so maybe you get bogged down in a snowstorm, and now the tension is up. This isn't just a mechanic to kind of slow us down and bore us and make us go to sleep, wondering, where is Snowpoint City? Why aren't I there? Now, there's this tension about, am I about to be attacked by a pack of wild Weavile, or even multiple different species of Pokemon teaming up with Mamoswine charging through the snow at you, and then Weavile attacking you from a different direction. It'd be like a super elaborate version of wild double battles, and we know that Pokemon even hunt like this. For example, there are Pokedex entries that talk about how Crocodile and Flygon cooperatively hunt through the sand. Imagine being their victim. That would be so cool!
While so far we've only seen Pokemon trainers throwing Pokeballs in Legends Arceus trailers, we know that trainers can also throw bait and rocks in the original Safari Zone. Then what if in terms of boss battles there are other ways to engage with wild Pokemon? Is rolling really only so we can sneak up to catch them? If not, we like the idea of wielding items that can deal damage to or slow down wild Pokemon. Perhaps even the elemental Arceus plates. The Arceus plates seem likely to appear in a game called Pokemon Legends Arceus. And what if, once you find them, you can blast wild Pokemon with elemental beams of energy to try and slow them down? One enemy this could be really interesting to deal with would be Regigigas, perhaps by using the power of the plates to damage it, or heck, even something like bait. We could see us luring the Scoliate Pokemon into the temple where it's found later in Diamond and Pearl. This could be a battle that involved navigating across the icy floor while being chased, luring Regigigas deeper into the temple where it will finally be trapped.
Another thing that I think would be really cool is something I want to steal not from Zelda, but actually from the Fallout Point Lookout DLC. Absolutely, and those of you who have played this and know what I'm talking about, here goes. In this game, there is a sequence where you eat from the punga fruit, and it sends you on this kind of trippy, psychedelic journey. As you're walking along, you're in a haze, and you're seeing visions and illusions of creatures attacking you, your nightmares coming to be real. And Sinnoh is the home of Darkrai. How cool would it be if Darkrai is a one-off overworld boss, and that when you get to the place where it's living or its island, it traps you in a bad dream, and you have to deal with all of these shadow Pokemon. Wait, I don't mean shadow Pokemon, I mean more like nightmare Pokemon, kind of like in Link's Awakening, the shadow boss at the end, that can transform into all these different forms that Link has fought before. Except in this case, it's Darkrai transforming into dark versions of Staraptor and Luxray and maybe even Arceus. You battle your way through them until eventually you come upon Darkrai, where you can then battle it, weaken it, and wake up from the dream state. And ultimately, hopefully, capture it. This is the kind of thing where if Darkrai at any one time controls a certain area of the Sinnoh overworld, the Sinnoh map, it would dissuade players from entering that area until they're feeling fully prepared to deal with these illusionary threats that are coming up. Instead, you'd walk into this bad dream zone and start seeing these things, and you'd ultimately be beaten by the shadow Pokemon in there, being forced to avoid it altogether until you feel strong enough, prepared enough to go, hey, do you remember that really cool, weird thing that happened earlier? Let's go take that on.
The one thing Pokemon Legends Arceus and Game Freak can learn from modern Zelda and thus Breath of the Wild is that an important element is to spread these enemies out evenly across the map with a wide variety of overworld bosses. Throughout this video we have talked about the Lynels, the Hinox, the Talus and Molduga, but within each of these we find categories or variants. The Stone Talus has the Igneo Talus and the Frost Talus, which are exclusive to certain areas, and have to be dealt with relevant equipment or elemental weapons. The Lynel has different colors ranging from red to gold as an indication to the player to show how tough and hard it will be to beat. This could be done in Pokemon by having of course Pokemon of different types, or within each species of Pokemon we could see size variation indicating what moves that Pokemon might know, with higher level Pokemon being bigger and having a wider range of attacks, versus low level Pokemon which only have a single move and are easier to deal with. This way, Toby, the player is going to feel like they're getting better and learning something from their experience.
Now, of course, this is just a few ideas as to how overworld bosses could work in Legends Arceus, but that's not the only thing I want to see. There's a whole host of gameplay mechanics and ways of really traversing the world that I want to see them implement as well. But for that video, you're going to have to click the link in the description and head on over to Commonwealth Realms channel. I tripped up on the word there. Commonwealth Realms channel. Commonwealth Realms channel. You click the link, head on over. Let me know what you're thinking about overworld bosses as well while you're down there in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and of course, so hi Pokemon Masters.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by Birdkeeper Toby. That makes you a Pokemon Master.
A tremendous thank you to those of you who go above and beyond to support this channel financially, including those of you who are supporting me on Patreon. And a special shout out to the big patrons of this month, JD Gottlich, Michael Hornschuch, and Matty Bar, as well as the Christum. Thank you.